In Colorado, there is only one place that has the best selection of collectibles. Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics.
For over 27 years, Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics has been the ultimate destination for collectors.
They have a wide selection of hard-to-find coins, action figures, role-playing cards. You can go over there and get yourself a copy of Dominion and sports memorabilia.
Hey, Peyton Manning's a Bronco. I was there yesterday. They have a signed Peyton Manning jersey.
And, of course, they've got comics, which is what I go there for.
All their back issues are half off. On Saturday, all dollar issues are only 50 cents.
And if you sign up for a hold slot, you'll get 20% off graphic novels and comics.
So stop by 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard in Arvada, Colorado, and tell them the Real Nerd sent you.
Comic-Con Episode 4, Fans Hope. Do you love comics, but can't go to Comic-Con? Look no further because Comic-Con is coming to Colorado. Come have an in-depth look at what goes on inside Comic-Con. All of the good, the bad, and the geeky, right there on the big screen. You even have the opportunity to purchase exclusive items. The only catch is that this event will happen only if the event reaches its attendance threshold. So what are you waiting for? You know you want to be a part of something amazingly awesome? Go and reserve your tickets today. For tickets, go to www.tugg.com/events/703.
Hey everybody, Ryan from Real Nerds here. I'm here with my good friend Joe of Birdman Barbecue. Joe, why don't you give us a little bit of history of Birdman Barbecue?
Well, actually, it's a family recipe been passed down for generations. My wife's dad has it now, and we're just now starting to bottle it up. We've got two different flavors, original and spicy, so if you want a nice kick to the back of your throat, try that spicy. And now we've also got a rub, too. So,
You know, Joe, I have to be honest. I love the spicy barbecue, and if you put your rub on burgers with a spicy barbecue, off the chain.
I'm glad that you're being honest, Ryan, because that's what we like, is off the chain.
You know,
Thank you for trying that.
I'm so glad that you like that I said off the chain, because what's even more off the chain is you guys go around Colorado and other places, and you actually enter in contests for your barbecue sauce. Have you won anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've entered our sauce in quite a few contests, and actually we got second place in the Frisco barbecue competition. So for our sauce, just the sauce, that's pretty cool. We've also won, different categories for side items and different things like that. But the sauce winning was the crowning achievement.
And you know what's so cool about being in Colorado is I can go to places around town to pick up the sauce. Where can I get the
go to your
sauce?
local area Ace Hardware stores. Check out Ruff's Barbecue in Golden. And then check out your local festivals, Frisco, Dillon. We're hitting up all those this year. So.
And also, I know, too, you also run contests on your Facebook page. If you get a certain amount of likes, you always do a free drawing for a free bottle of barbecue sauce. Where can we find you on Facebook?
Absolutely. It's birdmanbbq.com, or on Facebook, I guess it's just Birdman BBQ on Facebook. Check it out. Every 100 likes that we get, we enter everybody that likes us into a drawing for a bucket of barbecue, which is a bottle of each sauce and one of our rubs. So
awesome. So, yeah, make sure you like Birdman Barbecue. Check out Joe when he's doing little things around town with Frisco and winning competitions. You know what the barbecue sauce is? Delicious. Hello, Real Nerds listeners. Welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. To my right is
James.
And in a bubble is
Brad.
Brad's really sick, so if he dies, we'll let you know. We'll continue the podcast.
We may not notice for a while.
Yeah.
But once we figure it out, we'll definitely.
Yeah, we'll still continue the podcast, and we'll make sure it's recorded, and then we'll, help him out.
Thanks, guys. You're great friends.
Well, yeah, that's what we want to do.
Well, he's definitely still alive now. So.
Yeah, totally. Hey, again, thanks to everybody who saw us at Comic-Con. If you're wondering why we might have not responded to a tweet that you did at Comic-Con, there is another Real Nerds. And I just want to clarify on Twitter that our Real Nerds account is at @real_nerds. That's it.
Those other people are probably cool too, but they're not us.
Yeah, they're not us. So if you're wondering, like, hey, who are these guys? We don't know who these guys are.
Yeah.
That's why. You can also email us at realnerds@gmail.com. realnerdspodcast@gmail.com. I know what I'm doing, I swear. realnerds@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook. Thank you to everybody who liked us this last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not tired anymore, and it's really cool to go, think back to the week that was,
Yeah.
and
It took me a couple of days to get over
me
it.
too,
It
but-
really did. I was going into work just like total, and I work in retail where I see a lot of people, and I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
smiley and happy,
Yeah.
and I was socialized out. I was like, no, I am not smiley today. I just can't do it. I'm
actually,
sorry.
I caught a break. I have a lot of vacation time.
Yeah.
And my assistant can't work at my store because we're too slow in the summer because I work next to the college.
Yeah.
So my store can't afford to have him there. So what I did, no one else wanted him in the region though. So my boss came up to me and said, "Hey Ryan, you should just take some time off and he can work your schedule this week." I was like, "Cool." So I worked Monday till like 2, and then I haven't worked the rest of the week.
Nice.
I have to work
Nice.
tomorrow, but yeah, it's from 4 to 9.
Yeah.
So I'm really rejuvenated. Yeah, I mean it took a lot out of me. I didn't know how much it really took out of me.
Yeah.
Till the next morning when I got up at 6, so I had to be at work at 7, and man, I was dragging ass. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I just mentally exhausted. Physically wasn't too bad, but just mentally I was done.
Thinking back on it, I've realized that's probably some of the worst. I mean, I've lived an easy life. Probably some of the worst I've ever felt in my life. Like
Yeah.
just totally drained, malnourished, no sleep, dehydrated,
Yep.
stressed out, and anxious about everything.
Yeah, because also,
but
you
at the same time, just over the moon. Like
Yeah.
it was the most
It's weird
crazy binary feeling.
because there'd be times when people would want to talk to us, and I really didn't want to talk to them anymore.
especially by
but,
Sunday.
But like I had to bring myself back up, and then
Yeah.
when people were talking to us, I got excited again because the people
Yeah.
were excited.
Yeah.
Just interviewing so many people was tough, and I didn't think it'd take that much out of me, but it
That's
did.
crazy.
And you're saying, "Oh man, I have to interview one more person," but their enthusiasm really helped me
Yeah.
carry through, and it was lots of fun.
Yeah. And at the same time, after all that, I can't wait for next year.
I
Cannot
know.
wait.
dude. Next year's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And I will bring more food.
Oh
And-
yeah,
and water.
dude. I'm going to sneak food in. There's no way they can check it.
Whoa! Hopefully they'll forget we just said that by next year.
Well, I don't think that like the Christopher from
Yeah, I don't think
at
he
Denver
cared.
Comic Con
I
cares.
think
I
it was
really
a-
think it's the
The convention
The
center.
convention
Yeah.
center
And
itself.
they are not listening to the podcast, so
No.
forget them.
yeah, totally. But we really appreciated the Denver Convention Center hosting the Denver Comic Con. Thank you so much.
It was fantastic.
It was
Next year, give us more space.
cool. So fun reliving that. So you know what time it is now? Unspool real news. So
Or what movie did we see this week?
our movie. we saw Brave. I should really try when we see a children's movie not to cuss.
Yeah, you should.
Just
That's
so
why
you-
I just said forget the Colorado Convention Center.
But for our listeners, our Spider-Man review will be kid-friendly.
Well, or at least that's a promise for now.
Well, if we happen to cuss, Brad can add beeps in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. That'd be cool. So professional.
It would be, and I just want to.
Sweet. Another 4 hours I get to spend editing the show.
Hey,
Man.
you're not supposed to talk until we get to the review.
Man, I hate this in Spider-Man movie. I'm just getting ready. I'm just getting ready.
Wow. No, but
Cool, you just saved me some trouble. That's awesome. Thanks, James.
no, just because those one kids were so excited and
Yeah.
their mom wanted to listen to it, and those kids were cool, so I want to make sure that they can listen to our podcast.
And because maybe we should be better people and swear less.
maybe nah, who cares about that? Unspool real news. Did I say Brave yet?
No, you didn't.
Okay, we saw Brave.
Yeah, we saw Brave.
Fucking real news.
It's real news.
Box office was not very exciting last
No,
week.
it was kind of like the week before, only there was more stuff down on the list.
Am I the only one? Like, there's Madagascar 3 is getting great reviews, and I just don't get that franchise. We also saw a preview for Ice Age. I don't get
Yeah.
that franchise either.
I liked Madagascar. No. Ooh, I just said something
Whoa,
I definitely
whoa.
don't agree with. I liked Ice Age 1, for what it was. For like a DreamWorks kids movie, Madagascar totally just never hit with me.
By the way, Ice Age
And-
is a Fox animation movie.
Well, you know what I mean. Not Pixar is what I mean.
Anyways, it repeated as box office champ with $34 million.
Yeah.
Prometheus.
I guess good for that. I really don't think I'll ever check it out, even though
I will never.
I guess I should.
The only
but-
way I would check it out is if my niece and nephew wanted to see it.
Yeah. If anybody ever told me, like, oh, you should, if it were like, How to Train Your Dragon, where somebody was like, oh,
Sure.
no, you should check that out, I would, but I haven't actually heard anybody say, oh, it's really special.
Yeah.
So.
Prometheus did $20 million, which they say is a big drop off, and I'm actually surprised it cracked $20 million again.
Yeah.
Not because the movie's bad, but just because the subject matter is always a tough sell.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's the middle of the summer. Like, there's not
Yeah.
a lot of room.
No, also Rock of Ages, what we saw last week, did 14.4, which they're saying is a bomb because of the star power. But you really can't. Tom Cruise is he's only in the movie maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe. And if you could see just Tom Cruise, and the movie's totally worth it.
Yeah.
And That's My Boy, 13.4, which is also, they're considering a bomb because Adam Sandler movies usually do really well.
Yeah, but Adam Sandler movies are also usually like family sort of friendly, just garbage, like Grown Ups and such.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, this is a totally different audience. Like, this is a rated R comedy. How often do they? I mean, every now and then you get a Hangover, but this movie did not have the hype of a Hangover kind of movie. So that
And I
doesn't
think
really
Adam
surprise me.
Sandler's last movie created a lot of bad will with people with Jack
Oh
and
yeah.
Jill.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised it actually did as well as it did. I thought.
So thank you, Box Office Mojo, for supplying us with box office numbers.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of DVDs coming out, Blu-rays coming out this week.
And some of them good.
Yeah, Wrath of Titans is not one of them,
No,
but they tried.
they did. They did.
21 Jump Street, which was hilarious.
Yeah.
The Artist, which I'm really excited to pick up. Also a lot of movies like Sherlock Holmes didn't come out till June. That's 6 months after it came out in the theater. That's really a long time. Same with The Artist; took forever to come out.
Yeah, I don't
on
know.
Blu-ray.
Like usually
it's
they'll do
3
that
to
with
4 months.
indie movies because they want them to stay in theaters for a long time. But I mean, The Artist has been out of theaters for a while, as far as I know.
Well, it was in theaters till like March because of the Oscars.
Yeah,
so
exactly. They re-released it.
Yeah, they re-released it.
I would have sort of expected them to jump on the hype and release it in April, like end of
Yeah.
April. But
we get it anyway. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Also, Mirror Mirror, the other Snow White movie. Which,
that's a crazy quick turnaround.
oh, I mean, when did that come out? In April?
April,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
And
and
then,
it's kind of interesting because I kind of want to see it. So
yeah, we'll see.
well, because I want to compare it to the other one.
If
And
it's
so
for
I'm-
free streaming, I'll see it.
that's not a bad idea.
For Brad, Father's Day, Troma's Father's Day comes out.
Yeah.
Is it only on DVD?
it's a special limited edition numbered DVD Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Yeah,
Because they're
It is a
hoping to
Blu-ray.
sell that many.
It's a.
And
It's
then
it's got a CD in it too. Don't know what that is. Probably a soundtrack. Does it have music?
Probably, yeah.
it says CD. It says it's a 4-disc edition.
well, all movies have.
You laugh,
There's not too many movies that don't have music.
but you'll be laughing
I
harder
won't
when you watch
later.
the movie.
Well, when you get it, make sure that you let me borrow it
Definitely,
because
you'll love it as much as I did.
if I love it, then I'll buy it. And then you wanted me to mention Bullhead. I don't know what that is. If you
Yeah,
want to explain
Bullhead
what it
is a movie that was produced by the Alamo Drafthouse, and that they were promoting quite a bit. If you went to their site for months, it was up on there where they were trying to get people to come see it. I don't really know much of what it's about, but if it comes to Redbox or anything like that, I definitely want to rent it. So it's exciting to know it's out there, and it's one of those movies that isn't going to get a lot of promotion because there's not a lot of money behind it. But it's from people who
Care
love
about movies, so.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I think what happened, if I remember the story correctly, is that it was a movie that was at Sundance that nobody else picked up and Alamo did. So, which is always kind of neat. So,
Absolutely. So thank you, Digital Bits, for supplying us with box art links to Amazon that you can buy and support digitalbits.com.
yeah.
So what else you got for me in news this? Well, I'm going to, because it's my show, I'm going to skip you for 1 second.
whoa.
This isn't really news, but because it's so close to Spider-Man, I start getting really excited. And so I start checking out a bunch of things about it. And the first reviews are starting to trickle in for Spider-Man. And it's like at 91% on the tomato meter right now. And everyone's saying it's really good. But that's not really news. What I want to talk about, there's a cool little interview with Emma Stone. And is IGN asked her point blank, they said, so do you know what happens to Gwen Stacy in the comics? And she said, yeah, she dies. And they said, so do you think that should happen with your character in the movies? And she said, it's an important part of the Gwen Stacy character, so for her not to die would be a disservice to the fans.
Oh,
Can
you know what that
not love Emma Stone more?
I love Emma Stone.
that means one of two things. Either she is legitimately a huge Spider-Man fan, or the producers have discussed with her the fact that she will be dying in this series.
Oh, no. Or that, but she was telling the story about how important it is for her to die in Spider-Man. And it's a great interview. It's only like 2 minutes long, but
Yeah.
you know that she understands who the character is.
Yeah.
And she understands how important that is for the evolution of Spider-Man.
Oh, no. I know where she got it from. I know. Okay, first of all, hopefully she is really a big Spider-Man fan, but she's also dating a really big Spider-Man fan.
That's true. That's
probably Andrew Garfield just told her, like, this is what your character's going to die, and I'm going to be the one to kill you, and that would be a creepy conversation.
Spider-Man did not kill Gwen Stacy.
Spider-Man killed Gwen Stacy.
She's dead because of Spider-man, but he did
Yeah.
not kill her,
He broke her neck,
allegedly.
and that's what's sad about
Oh shit! Here we go.
it. Brad's been waiting for
fight,
this
fight,
for the podcast
fight,
to tear apart.
Fight.
So yeah, that's my news. I just wanted to say that it made me really happy to see Emma Stone talk about it, and I love her.
That is pretty.
And she's so cute.
She's amazing. She's really amazing.
How can we get her in a Batman movie?
She wants to be in a real superhero movie.
You, man. I mean, bleep. You, man.
So what else you got for me, James?
So the first thing, I'm going to start with something I think is interesting rather than sad.
Oh,
how's that
finally.
sound?
Jeez.
Okay. So Professor, I apologize before I even say this, Professor Akira Ishii from the Department of Applied Mathematics and Physics at
I'm bored
Totoro
already.
University in Japan, did a study this week that the Hollywood Reporter picked up on that basically said that internet buzz about a movie is far more important than the actual promotion of the movie. Like a commercial on TV is not, or a trailer is not going to swing people on a movie as much as people on the internet talking about it. Basically, what he did was he followed how many times on social sites and on social news sites and social networking sites a movie was talked about, and then did a correlation between that and the box office sales, and then we looked at how the advertising did as well, and realized that people talking about a movie, like we are doing, is way more important for a movie doing well or doing poorly at the box office than actually advertising a movie. Which
What the fuck? You said you weren't going to talk.
I'm sorry. It was interesting. Like, that's always been true. Word of mouth
Yeah.
has always sold movies. This is just electronic word of mouth.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
you're right. I mean, positive word of mouth. I mean, a great example is, I'll even talk about it in what we've been watching, but Batman Begins opened with 50 million, which isn't
Yeah.
a lot for a superhero movie, but or a comic book movie, I should say. But the word of mouth was so positive for it that it grows so much money, and I think movies like that can really catch on.
Yeah.
I mean, something like Moonrise Kingdom, where you open in 3 theaters,
Yeah.
and it's just able to sustain itself constantly and have the highest per theater average every week because just people say this movie's great.
Yeah.
I think it's true.
Yeah, and it was just interesting to see somebody like
Actually apply
somebody
science
in
to it.
science in quotes say like, "Hey, you guys are important." This is pretty cool.
Yeah, no.
And especially because the advertising I get so sick of so often that like it just makes sense. Yeah, because like you're right. You know, how many times have we seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding? You know, it seems like there's one every you don't remember. You're looking confused, but Brad, when you saw
Such a strange reference.
no. Because
I was thinking, like, how many times have you seen, like, hero's face on a poster and then, like, their little faces next to that? And
Yeah.
Or,
Oh,
that,
no,
or
no.
that certain font
Yeah.
for comedies, and it's always, like, set against a white background.
which of course all just gets forgotten because it's
Yeah.
all just middling. No, I
Yeah.
meant how many times you probably don't remember this, but My Big Fat Greek Wedding was huge and was in
That's a
theaters
word-of-mouth
for
movie, yeah.
forever. Yeah, and how many times have we seen? I mean, I feel like there's one
Or
every
God,
year.
Titanic,
Last
yeah.
year we had The Help. You know.
Oh yeah, that's a
Um,
good example.
Exactly, or Juno did it. You know, these movies that people go and are surprised by and love, and then they stick around. So yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was
That's cool.
cool to see for sure. I should have started with some news about following up on Bullhead, in fact, because the Alamo Drafthouse started a thing this week called Drafthouse Alliance, which basically they have 4 movies that they have produced and have available on DVD and are sort of in charge of. It's too bad Brad is leaving the room to throw up right now because I kind of wanted his opinion on this, but basically what they're doing is for $124 a year, which is a pretty steep subscription price, they will send to you the Blu-rays of their movies, and it should be about 9 a year, 9 or 10, or no, it's 9 a year plus one that you pick out. So it's 10 movies, so you end up getting a Blu-ray for about $12.50, which makes sense. But it's an interesting way because it's cool for them to be able to, for a studio. I mean, they're not a studio; they're people who are distributing movies. Yeah, for them to basically just say like, "Hey, if you like our taste in movies, give us some money up front, and we will ship this stuff to you. And if you will like the movie or you won't, but you'll be supporting us and doing what we're doing." I just think it's a really neat and different way to get movies out there to people. Did you read about this, Brad?
What?
Sorry, just are you done?
I
throwing
left the
up?
room to go get a soda. Like, I didn't hear anything
I know.
you said.
I know. I said as you started to leave that this was something. Did you read about the Drafthouse Alliance this
No.
week? You didn't. So they're doing this subscription thing where they're for $124 a year they will mail you what equates to 10 of the movies that the Alamo Drafthouse is distributing on a really nice Blu-ray. And so that way, if you like their taste in movies, you can just give them money up front, and they for what ends up being about $12 a Blu-ray.
Are you really explaining this to me when everyone just heard it? Like,
I am, because I want to know your opinion. Do you like? Is this the kind of thing that you would do? Like, especially if it were
$124, $25
a year.
a year, and you get how many movies?
It ends up being 10 movies. You pick one to begin with, and then they send you the next 9 that they produce.
So
you don't have any choice on which movies they are.
$10.50 a ticket. If I saw 10 movies in the theater,
Yeah, it ended up being about the
About
same
the
price
same
because I think
price.
Alamo Drafthouse tickets are a little more expensive.
I don't. That depends on the movie. I'd hate to just pay $125 and
no
get like
choice.
6
Yeah,
others that I
exactly.
don't care about.
Yeah, that is the one shaky thing about it, is that you don't get to pick the movies. But I just think it's
It's
cool. that they're-
interesting. I mean, it's something new, and
Exactly.
if it catches on, cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Alan Moore, who traditionally just hates movies, or especially hates movies
he's-
that they've made about his
He's
movies.
creepy looking. He reminds me of Rasputin.
Oh, he totally is. But that's the thing. Have you ever seen an interview with him? Really nice guy. He really is. Like he is the devil if you make a movie out of his stuff. But if you're just a fan and you think he's really cool, he is really nice to you.
Damn you, making me more money.
Well, that's the thing. He gave on Watchmen. He gave up all his money to Dave Gibbons because he was like, I don't want to make money on this stuff that I'm going to hate, which I guess is admirable. But that movie wasn't that bad. So
No, that's just being a butthead.
Anyway, he has decided he's going to write a bunch of short films. So it's actually kind of strange that he's, kind of not really getting into Hollywood, but basically he teamed up with this commercial director named Mitch Jenkins, and they're going to make a series of short films. So if you're a big fan of Alan Moore, like I am, I'll try and track him down somewhere. But
And hopefully he can write a movie script as well as he can write a comic book script.
Oh, absolutely. It actually sounds very much like him because it's going to be a few little episodes of shorts, and they're going to be, he calls it multi-layered, multi-episode. So they're going to be sort of intertwined, but telling different stories, all out of the way that Watchmen is. Where there's a lot of stuff going on, and it is all connected, but not necessarily all comes together at the end. So it sounds cool. I'll check it out for sure. And then the last thing is just that the guys from Kick-Ass are saying that they are filming Kick-Ass 2 this year. I still don't believe this is happening.
Yeah, I read that Aaron Johnson said it's his next movie.
Yeah.
Aaron Johnson is
Well,
Kick-Ass.
what else is Aaron Johnson doing?
He's in Savages that opens the same week as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I hear he's a dick.
Kind
I
of
can
seems
just
like
say
one.
that. Yeah, I've heard from people who've met him in interviews and stuff that he is just kind of a jerk.
That's really, really unprofessional of you, James, to bring that up.
I'm sorry. Well, if I ever meet him and he's great, then I will retract that. But
Okay, that's better.
Make sure
I've met some
episode
famous
55.
people. Who are great, so. Yeah.
I heard Steven Spielberg's a dick. Do you guys want to
No.
elaborate
Steven
on this?
Spielberg is not a dick.
You don't know. You never met him.
I don't think, but I've seen
I'm
enough
sure he's
stuff
not
with
a
him.
dick.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying how irresponsible it was of you to
I've seen
call
enough.
out Aaron Johnson. You didn't even know the man.
It probably was. But I like starting rumors, especially about dudes being dicks.
I saw some
Totally.
behind-the-scenes stuff on the Kick-Ass DVD where he said that James Hart's a dick.
Wow. And he looks right at the camera. He's like, James Hart, you are a dick.
If I ever see you, I'm gonna get on your podcast and punch you in the face, and people will be able to hear it. That's how much I will hate you.
You just got kicked ass.
Yeah. Oh, that was bad. Anyway, that's news. Brad, you got anything?
Nope.
Cool.
Okay.
You got a comic book for me this week?
Well, I totally forgot about this until a minute ago, but there's one that we've had on the back burner for a while. I was going to leave for you, but we should just talk about it. And in
Okay.
fact, we can both talk about it.
Sure.
Is that Saga, basically.
Yeah, it's great.
Brian K. Vaughan has come back to comics, and he did it in a way, he sort of announced that this was going to be a book. He wanted it to be something that no one could ever adapt away from comics. It was going to work on the page and never be something that someone could try to make into a movie, which is sort of reactionary to the years that he spent away from comics and trying to get scripts published and all of that, or not published, but turned into movies. And I still have not seen a Brian K. Vaughan movie, which is heartbreaking to me. So clearly he ran into some struggles and came back to comics where he was like, okay, I'm going to vent my frustration on this thing that apparently he sort of had these ideas since he was a kid, and sort of as he's grown up, cool ideas that he's had have just gotten shoved into this book. And it's really interesting. Basically, it's a sci-fi book, and there are all these planets, and all the planets have different races and things like that. and they've all been at war, so everybody's sort of mixed up. And basically, these two different aliens from two different sides of the war fall in love and have a kid, and then the very first issue give birth to this kid, and the book is narrated by that child. And they keep going after things that just, the ideas are just awesome. There's a lion cat that when you meet the lion cat, it's this guy's animal companion, and he introduces it as the lion cat, and you don't know why. And a couple pages later, somebody says something, and the cat just goes, lying, and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And there's rocket ship
humanoids
forests
with
and
TV for heads that fuck each other.
Oh yes, yeah.
Did you read this week's?
I haven't read this week's yet. 'Cause
There's
I get
a
them shipped
page
to me.
on there that will haunt you for the rest of your life.
Oh man, are you creepier than the spider centaur from last week that has no arms?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait. And he is still, the one thing is that if you've read a lot of Brian K. Vaughan, do not go into this expecting the Brian K. Vaughan twist that he always has in the first issue. It's just not there. Which is okay because he is still just as amazing
What's
as
the name of
he's
the artist?
always
Fiona
been.
what?
Fiona Staples.
Wonderful
and
artist.
as he has always said, you can't make comics without Staples.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Great
And
artist.
she's really good. Yeah, it's a little sketchy, but it's neat. It's fresh. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's up to issue 5, so there will probably be a trade in the next couple months of the first 5 issues. But if you can't get issue 1 because it's sold out everywhere.
Issue 2 as well.
Is it really?
When I went
'Cause I have
to
2 copies of
Colorado
that.
Coins, Cards, and Comics to get issue 2, I went the day it went on the shelves, and he didn't have any more on the shelves. He had to go steal one out of somebody else's hold slot and give it to me.
So if
And by his hold someone else's hold slot, I mean he has like 2 or 3 copies that he keeps back there in hold slots in case someone like me is like,
oh, okay.
hey,
yeah.
I want that. And he's like, okay, here's that one.
Cool. I saw him do that with Lock and Key, I believe.
Yeah. He always keeps a couple extras. So if you're ever at Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics and you have a hold slot, which you should get because you get 20% off and bagged and board as well, if you go there and you, like even something like Scarlet Spider, when I went there, he didn't have number 1 anymore.
Yeah.
But he always keeps a couple extra for people who have hold slots.
Very cool. Which is also just a good idea because if that issue is actually expensive, you can put it out on the floor in 2 months and hike it up to $8. And,
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a smart way to do business. Good for him. But yeah, check out Saga. It's amazing.
Awesome. So this week for our Comic-Con exclusive interview, we talked to a gentleman named Reggie, and Reggie is kind of special because he is doing a special screening of Comic-Con Episode 4, A Fan's Hope, which is an awesome documentary that everybody should see, especially if you're interested in the stuff we're interested in. He's doing it, and you have to buy tickets at his website. I wish I had the website in front of me, but I know it's tugs.com/something.
Yeah, and you heard it at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, at the beginning of the podcast, that's what he's talking about.
And you'll hear it in the interview.
And you'll
yeah.
hear it in the interview. Anyways, you support them because they're giving away prizes and stuff, and I won't tell you about it. How about we let Reggie tell you about it, because I'll just mess
Well,
it
and the
up.
one thing we do have to say is you have to buy tickets before June 30th.
Yes.
So if you want to go, and you should, we already talked about this movie on the podcast, you should go ahead and buy tickets as soon as you can.
The screening won't happen at all unless people buy tickets.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. He has to get a certain number of tickets before he can actually book the theater. So
And he's a really nice guy. And
Yeah.
we just met him at the Comic-Con. Is one of those cool things where you just meet someone who's really cool.
well,
And
Sully introduced him to it.
Sully
So,
did.
yeah.
And Sully's cool too. Hey, Sully,
Hey,
what's up?
Sully. We just talked about you on the podcast.
Yeah, remember when we met each other just the day before at Mile High Comics, and we were waiting in line together?
Remember when you and Ryan made out? And
It was
wait.
awesome. You were looking for a Nightwing comic, but you were wearing the Avengers T-shirt. What's that about, brother?
Ooh, crossing the streams. That's not even what that means. Anyway,
Here's Reggie. Well, hi. We are with Reggie West. Reggie, I am Ryan. This is James. We
Hi,
are
Reggie.
Hi, how you
we
doing?
are the Real Nerds, and we do movies. And we hear you're a big movie fan. So, what is your favorite movie?
Well, right now and always and forever, be the first Matrix. The very
Really?
first Matrix.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
That's
first
not a
Matrix.
bad
Because
choice.
past that, everything got confusing.
Yep.
What do you mean past
And
that? I don't remember past that.
yeah,
the series stopped, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it
With
stopped.
Neo
Why didn't
stopping
they
the
make a
bullet.
sequel? That movie was so cool, but nobody
It's,
saw it,
I
and they
think,
didn't
I
make
think
a
it
sequel.
stopped at I Know Kung Fu. Yeah. That was about it. So,
Yeah,
that was about
absolutely.
it.
No, that's awesome. That was a good choice. I've never heard that one. So Matrix is their favorite movie because so many people are worried that the sequels kind
It's
of
got that stigma.
soiled the first one, and I disagree. I think the first one's amazing.
I think the first one really represented what they wanted to do, but I think they got lost somewhere between the last scene in the second one and the first scene in the third one, which was the same scene. So it was all of that was just completely
Wow.
just messed everything up. But
I love that.
that's just me. That's just me. But first movie, Fishburne kicking the crap out of Neo was fantastic, and I loved
Absolutely.
it. Loved it.
And he, he was perfect in that role. He had that kind of mysteriousness about him, but he could also deliver lines where you're like, oh, that was really cool what he just said.
Yeah, plus he had his hands behind his back the whole movie, which was
He
great.
did.
So that was fantastic.
So do you also read comic books, or are you just a movie guy?
No, I like comic books too. I don't get a chance to read as much as I would like to, but I know that Civil War and World War Hulk, my favorite right now.
Civil War's great.
Yeah, Civil War is fantastic. I just finished reading Fear Itself.
That's a good
which
one,
was,
too.
Which was really good.
Oh.
And no spoilers, but somebody dies,
They do.
and it's fantastic. But
They do.
that just, they have really good writing. Just a lot of good stuff, especially with the stuff that Jim Lee does too. All of his art, especially with Batman,
Yeah.
Superman, all that
Oh,
good
yeah,
stuff.
his Batman was amazing. Did you read his Hush story?
I did read Hush. I don't remember all of it because I read it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I remember that Hush was a good one. Arkham Asylum was a good one, and The Long Halloween was probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah, that's Tim
that's
Sale.
a
I love
good
Tim
Yeah,
Sale.
yeah,
And,
Long Halloween was
Long
probably
Halloween's always great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That was a really really fun one.
So you must be really excited
I am really excited.
because we got some Batman coming up.
Yes, it's fantastic.
It's gonna be really cool.
And I love that they picked Bane, and just for the fact that they kept all of the movies realistic. Like they could have went with an Ivy, or they could have went with Hush or somebody, but they kept it really grounded and kept it human versus making it really cartoony, which was, and really for a mature audience, was really really good.
Yeah,
So
they
that
did.
was-
Have
that
you?
was
Are you
fantastic.
going to be at the Michael Uslan?
When does that start? Because
That starts tomorrow at
2.
2.
Starts tomorrow.
Two?
2.
Because he told a great story. We were at Mile High Comics yesterday, and he told the story about Batman and when he saw it in 1966, all campy.
Yeah.
He made it his mission to make a mature and dark Batman, and he's been the producer on every single Batman film
Oh, that's
since then.
That's
Starting
awesome.
with Tim Burton all the way.
Starting
through.
with Tim Burton all the
Yeah.
way up to now, he's just produced every single one.
Yep, and even
Yeah.
the cartoons.
Yeah, all the those '90s cartoons you love.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a great story, and his book is amazing. And if you can get him to sign it personally, he even draws a bat signal in it. It's
I'm gonna have to
Great.
check it out.
And it's funny because
hopefully I can make that one because I really
Yeah.
want to check it out.
you should
It's cool.
because if you like Batman, it's definitely one you should check out.
Yeah,
I will tell you this. Last night he was at Mile High Comics and he gave a little spiel and told this little story. And he said, he doesn't want to spoil anything, but he does want to say that as much as we have loved the movies in the past, he just said, just wait, man.
Just wait?
Just wait.
Ugh.
And you could, from somebody who clearly just loves Batman, like from his soul,
Yeah.
like to hear him say that was so exciting.
Just wait.
You know?
Oh,
Dude, he
man.
goes, 2 hours and 45 minutes. You won't even believe it. Like,
I'm all for it.
now it'll be overhyped and we'll hate it. But still.
yeah, it's okay. Even if it's not overhyped, I'll still go see
Yeah.
it. I'll
Oh, man,
go
it's
see it
so
a million
exciting.
times. I know I will.
Do you have your midnight
So-
showing tickets yet?
Do you have your midnight showing tickets for Dark Knight?
I don't.
You got.
I remember funny story. Kayla and I went to go see Dark Knight on the first day it came out, and we were running. I knew that was going to be packed.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be sold out. We got our tickets. We were probably the last ones to get in the movie theater,
Oh.
and somehow, some way, we got sat right in the middle, right in the
did you
middle
work
of the
that
theater.
out?
I have no idea.
Divine intervention.
So, somehow it must be a mixture of German food and rushing. It just happened. And for some reason, I mean, it was the best
Wow.
time. Really best
That's
time.
That's
Seriously.
awesome.
Cool. That's too cool.
Seriously.
Well, Reggie, why are you here at the con? What are you picking?
Right now, well, this is my first Denver Comic Con,
This is
and
everyone's first Denver
everybody's
Comic-Con.
first Denver Comic Con, and I'm just like seeing all of the exhibits and products and comics and posters and art and artists and everything, and it's just really it's overwhelming right now, but it's really cool to see a community of such talented people come together in one specific location just to showcase basically what they're made of, what they have. and it's just a really cool experience seeing all this stuff.
Wow, you said
I
that
love
so
it.
much better than we
Amen.
could.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I was like, preach it, Reggie. So yeah, I
But-
know. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking to people before about the fact that like people are lining up at 1:00 in the afternoon today. Like you could just see the hunger in people.
Yeah.
We needed something like this.
Yeah.
You know, we're out here in the
True.
West. There's nothing close by. You know,
this
and we deserved it.
this is awesome. Seriously,
Oh, it's so cool.
This is fantastic. Seriously, are you guys going to the gaming thing tomorrow?
I
Over,
don't,
right
I don't
across
think
the street?
so.
Yeah.
Right across the street.
We're actually kind of booked tomorrow with interviews.
Yeah, we got some interviews tomorrow, but I
yeah?
definitely want to get over there. When you get over there, there's a really cool like Lego. It's like Warhammer, but with Lego pieces. Check that out. We
Warhammer
met the
Lego?
guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
God,
no.
I love my life.
Exactly. We had this guy explain it to us all last night, and I thought this is the coolest thing. I will waste my life
You're
on this
okay.
game. Exactly.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go over there as soon as I get off work because I have actually a meeting with the guy over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna tell you guys all about it. I'm gonna come back here, and we're gonna tell everybody else about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that
sounds great.
That sounds great.
You'll be like
Reggie.
our field reporter.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
this place closes at 5 tomorrow, doesn't
Yes.
Oh, is it 5? I thought it was 6.
6.
I think
5
it's
or
6
6?
tomorrow
If
and
it's-
5 on Sunday.
it? Okay. If it's 6 tomorrow, I should have enough time to go over there, check that out, come back over here, and go back over there.
Cool.
So I'm gonna be running around.
That
Sweet.
sounds
so
We'll be here.
yeah.
But you're also tying in with Comic-Con. You are having a screening for Comic-Con episode
I
4
am.
of Fans Hope.
Yes.
Why don't you tell our loyal listener about your
Singular. One is better than nothing.
yes, you know.
One is absolutely better than nothing.
So what are you
We're
doing
hoping
with
it'll
that?
be 2 as of Monday.
See?
Yeah, we'll see.
See? It is Comic-Con 4, Fans Hope, to basically documentary about the San Diego Comic-Con and just an experience of where, I mean, on a much bigger scale. I mean, I've like seeing that
It's
one.
crazy.
Seeing that one got me excited about the one here in Denver.
Yeah.
Just for something that I've always wanted to go to, especially when I figured out what it was.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with a lot of people. They don't know what a Comic-Con is or some sort
Agreed.
of convention or what this, what all of this means or like why are people doing this type of stuff. And I mean, for some people, I know a person I grew up in high school with that dressed up all the time, had like striped socks, and like did a whole bunch of different cosplay like in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, nerd, geek,
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, a whole bunch of different words. And now she's flying all over the country doing a whole bunch of different fashion shows and different types of very unique fashion. That's I think her thing's like J-Chan Unique. I don't know if anybody's heard, but I'm shouting it out.
Yeah. Yeah, get it out there.
J-Chan Unique or whatever it is. Jessica, fantastic work. And just seeing that and seeing how dedicated she was to her craft, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's going to work for a geek or a nerd anyway. So it might as well start here. And that's what I'm just trying to get out with Comic-Con, the movie, just trying to let people know or show people that there's a different side than just video games or reading comics or just people that think that it doesn't mean anything, where it's actual talent. There's literature, there's art, there's creativity, fashion, voice acting's fantastic, and just so much stuff. And I just wanted to really promote that and show that for a community of people that may not even heard of this movie. And
Absolutely.
that's just
Awesome.
something I really wanted to
That's
do.
so cool.
And is there a website we can go to buy tickets? And how do we buy tickets?
Yeah, the website is www.tugg, that's tug.com/events/703.
Cool.
And that's the event, and I'm really trying to push this out as fast as possible because the deadline for the tickets is June 30th.
Oh.
And I'm really just trying to push that out because if I have enough people, then it will happen. If it doesn't happen or don't get enough people, then it won't happen.
Okay.
So I'm really trying to push it out as fast as possible, and I'm going to try. I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to try everything I possibly can to get this out and make
And
this
this is the
happen.
place to do
Awesome.
it.
Yeah. You know what, Reggie? We're going to help you too. We will pimp you out as well.
Oh, Yes, you guys are like exhibit.
You know, we will add links on our Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah.
our blog page,
That's
and we'll help
It's
you.
really cool. Like we
Yeah.
got a chance to see it, but not everybody has.
Right,
the movie's
exactly.
great.
And
That's
it is.
fantastic.
It's something and something that people will definitely be interested in by
Yeah.
come around the time that you want to show it.
Most
So
definitely.
that's going to be really cool.
Most definitely.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to promote here? You have the floor, sir.
The Mustache Emporium here at Denver Denver Comic Con. Go get one. They smell like barbecue and it's fantastic. You're gonna be hungry after getting it. And it's just,
Well, thanks for stopping by, Reggie. That was awesome, man.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
no problem.
Thank you, Reggie, for stopping by. Thank you for everybody stopping by. Again, we'll let you know when everybody else is on the
Dude, that guy was
podcast.
so awesome. His
Yeah.
interview was so funny.
And remember, Real Nerds listeners, we have interviews with artists and celebrities, too, that we will hopefully put out soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like Rebecca Isaacs and Zach Howard and Georges Jonty
Yeah.
and Michael Uslan.
And Michael Uslan.
So stay
And
tuned for that.
I could just see Brad's tired soul just
Editing
waiting
this
over there.
stuff
Like,
and-
how long would you say it took you to all together to edit last week's episode?
6 hours.
6 hours.
6
Man.
hours. See what Brad does for you.
6 hours
And you
of
know what? It
dedication,
sounds
man.
great.
It does.
So keep up the good work, Brad. We appreciate it.
And we're trying
I
really
think-
hard not to flub this episode. So
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
think
have to
2 of
do it
those
again.
hours was just fixing all the flubs from all the out of order stuff we did.
You couldn't even tell that you did the. You talked about Moonrise Kingdom.
I know, I'm
'cause
awesome.
That was amazing.
I'm a great editor.
The only edit I knew that you changed was at the beginning. There was like this one edit, and
Yep.
it jumped kind of really bad. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
He spent a whole hour
But
on
that's
it.
a-
Thanks for rubbing it in, Ryan.
no, but that's only because I was in the room and I
Yeah.
knew, and I have a really great memory, so I remember things. I was like, I didn't say that part next, but what are you gonna do? But for some reason, last week I couldn't spit out words. It was horrible. But anyways, thanks, Reggie. Thanks to everybody for liking. Yeah, we've already said it, and yeah, that was fun. It was fun re-listening to the Not Literally Girls because it was really good again.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Yeah,
shorter
that
than I
was a-
remember, too.
Yeah, it was shorter than I remembered, but
Oh, I thought you said they are
But
shorter
they're
than
always
you
welcome to
remember.
call in.
yeah, you should always call in. Brad, what's the number? 720-6nerds5.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a
man,
good way to
good.
remember. I was trying to remember the actual numbers. but-
Yeah.
So yeah, call in, ladies, and
Well, or anybody.
Or
Just
anybody.
anybody call in.
I'm calling out specific people, so maybe they'll call us.
Oh, maybe, or you could have just met ladies. You could have just met call in ladies.
Anybody, ladies.
Hey, ladies, call the
Ladies.
podcast.
have they heard the episode?
They
Yes, they
have.
have.
And they commented me on saying, do it because I said so. I'm more of a
That's
dictator.
your motto.
Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about what we've been watching. I had the week off, so I've been watching a lot.
Cool.
A couple things I've never seen that I really actually totally enjoyed. I went to Second Spin this week, and they had buy two, use anything. You get the third one for $1. So one of the things I got was Some Like It Hot, which is
Oh, wow,
a
yeah.
really old Marilyn Monroe movie that also stars Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. And,
I love Jack Lemmon.
wait,
I was going to say, calling it a really old Marilyn Monroe movie like there's new Marilyn Monroe movies.
Yeah, I guess she's been dead for.
Well, there's the
like-
Marilyn Monroe
like
movie.
they're always
going to
be old.
February.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
saw a Marilyn Monroe movie this year.
Anyways, the movie is fantastic. I read that it's the American Film Institute's favorite comedy of all time. I wouldn't
Wow.
go that far, but it's pretty funny. You have to accept that it was made in the 1959.
Yeah.
And there's some goofy things, but the actors are amazing in it. And the premise is Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis play these musicians that work at a speakeasy, and it takes place in 1929 in Chicago. And so they're playing, and then the place is raided, and they run away, and eventually the mobsters catch up to them again, and they witness a St. Valentine's Day massacre.
Oh, wow.
So they take a job as musicians as women, so they cross-dress to go to Florida.
Comedy gold cross.
Totally. To go to Florida and put on a show. And on the way to Florida, they get on a train and they meet Marilyn Monroe's character. I forget her character's name, but it was really funny because every time she came on the screen, it played that like 1950s like tramp music, that wah 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 wah, and every time she was on screen, and it was really funny because the Jack Lemmon is amazing in this
Yeah.
movie. and Tony Curtis is really good too. Tony Curtis was kind of the suave ladies guy, and Jack Lemmon was kind of the goofy guy. And so they're playing these parts, and when they get to the resort, there's this one old guy who falls in love with Jack Lemmon's character, Daphne, and he's always like "Zowie," and every time he sees her, so he keeps on trying to take him out, Jack Lemmon. And when Tony Curtis finds out that he owns a yacht, he tries to get Marilyn Monroe on the yacht as this debonair a Shell oil guy, and so they get him on, and Jack Lemmon ends up accepting the proposal from this guy, and he's so excited, and Tony Curtis has to remind him that he's a guy, and it's really funny. And Marilyn Monroe is fantastic in it. I've never seen a movie with her, and she has tons of charisma. But I listened to the commentary, and I watched a documentary about it too, and Tony Curtis said kissing Marilyn Monroe is like kissing Hitler, and that because she was so cold, and she was always late to the set, and she just like my week with Marilyn, and she always had problems, and it was really hard. And the only reason that Billy Wilder agreed to do this movie is because she built up a rapport with Jack Lemmon, and she kind of liked him. And so you should check it out. It's really funny, and
I may have to borrow that from you.
it's not like a traditional funny. You're not going to be rolling in stitches. It's kind of you have to. I don't know. You have the performances are worth.
There's no dick jokes in it.
It's gonna,
no dick jokes.
Aw.
It's going to be more like To Catch a Thief.
There might be some dick jokes in it, more subtly.
Yeah.
I say, Reginald, you know what's funny? A man in woman's clothing.
Pretty much. But yeah, there's some great things. You just have to watch it. I can't explain it to you because it's not the kind of comedy where his dick fell out. It's look at these guys be zany. Where all the girls get into Jack Lemmon's bunk because they're trying to hide that they're drinking and smoking and they're not supposed to. And
I'm sorry, I really want to see the movie where there's a line of dialogue that's, "Oh no, his dick fell out."
Kevin Smith, Some Like It Hot.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh, so check that one out. Another great movie that I saw that I always meant to see, and it's a Robert Downey Jr. movie, is Good Night and Good Luck, which is an amazing movie.
I keep forgetting you hadn't seen that one yet.
And I really liked it. I mean, the movie, it seems like it's really short, but it's always going. And for people who don't know, it's Edward R. Murrow taking Senator McCarthy, and it's, dealing with communism and what behind the scenes kind of is going on. And it's a really good movie.
And directed by George Clooney's second directorial movie.
And he wrote the screenplay too. And it's really fascinating. Who's the guy who plays Edward R. Murrow? Daniel Strathern? Yeah. Like that. But it was really cool. I've never seen Robert Downey Jr. play such a straight person before.
Yeah.
But him and Patricia Clarkson have great chemistry, and they play a married couple. You're not allowed to be married at the time and work together. So it's really cool, and I really like the movie, and I think everybody should see it. And it made me do some research on Edward R. Murrow and
it's an easy recommendation. It's just so much fun and fascinating. If you don't know that story,
yeah. What were you gonna say, Brad?
I agree with you. You should see it.
Yeah.
What was there's a really funny line that fudge, I can't remember it now, but after Edward R. Murrow gets kind of banished because of what he was doing, and they've lost their sponsor because he was attacking the government, and he comes out of the office of the head of CBS, and George Clooney plays Fred Smiley, and he comes around Fred Friendly, and he comes around the corner, and he says, "Well, I guess we're going to go out. We're going to go out swinging because they got only 5 episodes on Sunday morning," and it's just a cool movie.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing really happens in it, but it just all the actors are amazing.
There's a lot of weight on very small things.
Oh, yeah.
The way they do it.
And, it's interesting because I didn't know, his newscast, really, Edward R. Murrow, he'd seriously just sit at a thing and talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were making a big deal of him smoking, and I didn't know why, and I read his biography on Wikipedia. And I guess he would smoke something like 64 cigarettes a day.
Oh, wow.
And obviously he died from lung cancer at the age of 57. But it was a really interesting movie, and I loved it. And it was kind of cool seeing Robert Downey Jr. be a little more, I don't know if restrained is the right word, but knowing that he could just play a normal guy. And
he's not the standout.
Yeah, exactly. And all his scenes are really good. I actually like the line where they're they're hiding. At first, you thought they were just hiding their affair or something,
Yeah.
but then you found out that they're actually in love and they've been married forever. And when you found out, he was leaving his apartment, and she said, "Hey, take off your ring." And he says, "Hey, what other wife would tell her husband to take off the ring?" And he said, "Oh no, Ava Gardner." Stuff like that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend that movie. That movie was awesome. Jeez, are you ready for some more stuff?
Yeah.
I also watched Batman Begins again.
Still good.
I haven't seen it in so long, and I was telling Brad in the just before we got here that I don't think you see Batman until about an hour and 10, hour and 20 minutes into the movie, and it's just a cool movie because when I listened to Michael Uslan talk, and it is all about Bruce Wayne, and it's that's all he wanted was to have a movie where it's Bruce Wayne and his journey. And my favorite scene actually is when he's talking to Rachel Dawes in the car, and she's telling him, "Just go in there and make a difference." And it's great.
As soon as you said my favorite scene, my first thought was him and Rachel Dawes in the car, and because it's great because it focuses so solely on those characters in a way that a lot of superhero movies wouldn't take their time to do.
Because
except for like Spider-Man, which also has a scene in the car with somebody important. So
yeah, but too, the supervillain is kind of an afterthought in that movie.
Oh yeah,
it's whatever.
He's like, oh yeah, he's part of the. He shows up at the beginning and he trains him how to fight stuff, and then he shows up at the end and like, oh yeah, it was him the whole time, but it's not a big deal.
The big deal is it's Bruce and his journey to become respected as a Wayne and feared as Batman, which is really cool. And I really enjoyed the movie again, and it looks amazing on Blu-ray. And of course, actually, I love the scene in the car, but my favorite whole line from the whole movie is when he's with Ra's al Ghul, and he says, "I don't have to kill you, but I also don't have to save you," and he just goes away, and he just dies, or does he?
That's a controversial line. Not everybody agrees with that line.
No, because
there are Batman fans who really hate it.
Conflicted about it because
yeah.
But it also much like at the end of Iron Man 1 when he reveals that he's Iron Man and everybody else in the theater was like, "Whoa, how crazy is that?" And it didn't even dawn on me that that's what was different about that character. It does something interesting to make Batman really gritty in these new movies to say like, okay, the rule is he's not allowed to kill somebody, but you know what? We're gonna have him toy with that line. And that makes it more interesting to me.
I think so too.
Because I mean, part of why I always think that Superman movies fail is because they stick to the traditional rules of that character too much, and so it makes it a sort of a fresh take on Batman if you're able to, they don't break the rule, but they tease it.
But also remember, Ra's al Ghul told him, he said, "You shouldn't have saved me." He said that to his face, like, "You're the one who saved me." And
it also leads up to a big part of what Dark Knight is about, because Dark Knight is the Joker trying to make him break that rule. Mm-hmm. And so it all sort of ties together. It'll be interesting to see how it ties together in the new one.
It will be really interesting. I also got Mission Impossible on Blu-ray. The first one.
Dude, yes.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
Oh.
And I remember being younger and being confused by it. But I watched it again. I'm like, this movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's when you watch all the... I haven't seen 2 in a long time, but I watched 3 recently, and of course I've watched 4 a lot. But each movie has a different feel to it, and I think the first one actually had the TV show feel to it, where they had like the foggy streets and the kind of backstabbing and double crossing, and
that's probably partially just Brian De Palma. I think Brian De Palma's movies are just a little bit older, you know, and it's fine. It's a good feeling, but it feels like old TV.
Yeah.
Spoilers. I like how the bad guy is the old good guy in the movie.
My mom hates that. To this day, you bring that movie up, and she will be bitter about it.
Really?
She still really likes the movie, but she'll just say it's just wrong. It's just wrong. I can't believe they did that. It's just wrong. And I'm like, no, it's such a cool twist. Like it really, especially if you were a fan of that show, really pulls the rug out from under your feet.
Yeah. Sorry. No, because when I was younger, and he was telling when he met John Voight's character again, and he's sitting and John Voight's telling him how he got away, but Ethan Hunt is actually playing in his head how it actually went.
Figuring it out.
When I was younger, I'm like, wait, he's telling him a different story, and Ethan Hunt says, "Then how'd you get out?" Then I said, but now as I watch it again, I said, actually, Ethan Hunt is using him because he's trying to figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
And the movie is awesome.
He's interpreting the lies and applying that
Exactly.
to what he knows is true.
Exactly.
And then it's genius.
And I guess I didn't remember when I was little when he saw the book from Chicago
Yeah.
in it, and he said he was in Chicago at the Drake Hotel. I mean, there's just little things, and I guess because I was younger, I didn't pay attention to the little intricacies
Yeah.
of the movie.
And it's one of those things where, I must have been maybe 10 or 11 when that movie came out, and I adored it. I bought the soundtrack. I thought it was so cool. Did not understand what was going on. But the action sequences are all so cool. And now, of course, just iconic.
Does that explosion on the train where he
Where he gets blasted
from the helicopter, does that
It
still
doesn't
hold
look
up?
It
bad.
still looks good.
It doesn't look bad.
It does.
The one part that looks kind of bad is when John Voight gets like smashed and he goes
Yeah.
away. But the scene where he's in the aquarium and he jumps out, oh man! Even to this day, that's still a cool freaking
Yeah.
action scene because I was watching again, and the aquarium blows up and all the water's coming down, and it blew that one guy out the door.
Yeah.
And if you watch, you see Tom Cruise run, and he jumps over that guy's body.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's badass.
It's just that right then everybody was like, "Oh man, Tom Cruise is really good at running. This is so amazing." But
Refresh my memory. Who did Peter Graves play in that movie?
When does he show up? Shoot, I
I
can't
forget.
remember.
Because I thought he played himself, but as the villain. So John Voight's
yeah, John Voight's the bad
his
guy.
character
Yeah.
from the TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
Never mind. I don't hold the show.
No, you're fine.
But it's still thrilling. I mean, even when he gets on top of the train and it's it's going so fast and his jacket flies off, and even though you know how it ends, you get all excited. And Tom Cruise is really cool.
So you gonna watch 2 now?
Yeah, actually, I want to go to Second Spin because you can get number 2 on Blu-ray for $4. So, I mean, why not?
I was gonna say, as I remember from watching it back before 4 came out, the shot that bugs me actually the most is, bizarrely enough, the shot where the helicopter goes into the tunnel. There's something about just the I don't know how they did
Yeah.
it. Maybe it was, I don't know how they did it, but something about the animation there is just a little bit off. But that's so nitpicky. Like, that movie really holds up well.
It does. And finally, I watched Spider-Man 1 again.
And it's still good.
It's still good. And
Yeah.
it's still amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The Spider-Man movie is amazing,
Yep.
but it's not Amazing Spider-Man.
And I miss Cliff Robertson. He's so good as Uncle
it
Ben.
is. Yeah, he is.
Martin Sheen, you have big shoes to fill.
That is still one of my big worries about that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, what have you been watching?
Well, Futurama came back this week.
It did.
Season 7. You know, it's sort of season 6, sort of season 7. It's the 6th season on TV, but if you count the movies as a season, then it's season 7. It's crazy, and it was still really good. Man, made me laugh out loud a few times in both of the episodes. The first one where Bender has a baby is not quite as good, but still pretty dang funny.
I haven't seen
premise
it, but
makes you
that
laugh.
sounds
Oh
amazing.
yeah, see right there. Yep. Yeah, it is really good, and I've always found with Futurama that it's a show that when I go back and watch a second time, that's when I really start loving
Yeah,
it.
I think Futurama is better than The Simpsons.
Oh, I do too. I always have.
Yeah,
But I think
the
that's
first
partially
season
just
on TV. Watching, I was like, "This is all right," and then
Yeah.
it's just like The Simpsons. It gets better, and it's like 3rd or 4th season.
Yeah. Well, I just think it gets better as you rewatch it. I start noticing jokes more, and some of the jokes that are just the way they're delivered is so flat that then when you watch it again, you're like, oh, that is actually
I mean, my
really good.
favorite joke in Futurama ever is when Bender gets sucked out of the Planet Express. He's going away, and Leela says, "We can't catch him. He's too far away." And Fry says, quite literally and quite just like it's nothing. Even if we spray cheetah blood on the engine. It's so stupid.
Oh,
but it's
that's
one
so
of my
good.
favorite lines
That
in
is
any
so
show
good.
ever because I don't know. It's just the way it's delivered that he believes that if you spray cheetah blood on an engine, that
On
you-
anything, that'll
on
make you-
anything, it'll make you go faster. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we haven't talked about this yet. I've been it's something that I've been boiling over for the last couple of weeks, which is that I am really tired of movie hipsters. And let me explain that by saying that a couple of weeks ago after Prometheus, Adam Quigley from /Film put out his review, which he admitted in the title, he calls it a rant, where he ends up giving Prometheus a 4 out of 10. And if you read through the article, it is one of the most frustrating things I have ever read, certainly as a movie review. the reason I stopped listening to the Slash Filmcast was because Adam Quigley turned into this person who I felt like was choosing which movies he did and didn't like. And Ryan will back me up on this. It has become sort of my mantra for the last year, especially as we've gone into movies that one or all of us don't expect to like. It is go into it open-minded and want to like the movie. Like, go into it really honestly wanting the movie to be good. Because if you make the effort and meet the movie halfway, if it does even a decent job, it will at least connect with you in some way, for the most part. Like that way, you get a very honest opinion of the movie, and I do not feel that I get honest opinions from Adam Quigley anymore. In fact, when I read something like this article, I feel more like, because this movie is so hyped, he goes in and goes, what the hell are these people even talking about? How does anyone like this movie? And then just rants about it. And it's all about not liking questions and all of that stuff. And he clearly doesn't actually think about the movie at all, to the point where he sets up this weird binary where he's sort of arguing early on, because he calls the movie simple escapism of the like of a Transformers movie, which I think...
Prometheus?
Yeah, he calls Prometheus that. Which I think is naive and juvenile, because he's basically setting up a binary where there's movies like Transformers that are dumb but things blow up, and then there's movies that are really deep and their only purpose is to be really deep, and he doesn't leave any room in the middle. Like, there can't be a movie that is like Alien, where it's scary and there's action and all of that, but it has questions and makes you think and things like that. And I will admit that there are questions about that movie and things that they don't explain, and we talked about it on the podcast. But for the last 2 weeks, that movie hasn't gotten out of my head, and I keep thinking about a lot of those questions and have arrived at my own answers about the reason that certain things are the way they are, and it's so much fun. Like, to be able to have a movie that doesn't just feed me everything and actually asks me to do some work. It's invigorating, honestly. Like, it makes me feel like I have been trained to become a lazy moviegoer if every movie I go to is just going to hand me everything. And so it's been really frustrating, because I feel like there is this small group of people on the internet who just have torn that movie a new asshole. Sorry. Basically because they don't want to do any work. Like, they don't want to think about it. And if it didn't work, like, Brad wasn't crazy about the movie. If it didn't work for you, or if you don't like the questions, fine. But I'm treading on careful ground here, because if I say, well, you should go into a movie being open-minded, and then I judge you for not liking a movie, and I say that, oh, well, you clearly weren't doing that, I'm doing the same thing to you that I feel like he is doing to other people, where he is shaming people for liking a movie and shaming them for their opinion. But still, I feel like there is a small group of people who want to hate movies because it's fun, and want to hate movies to make themselves look cool, and I hate how much attention they have gotten on the internet lately.
I feel that way too, because, when we went and saw Battleship, I was bumming. I'm like, I do not want to see this freaking movie at all.
Yeah.
And you told me when we were actually waiting to get a soda, you said, dude, just watch it, maybe you'll like it. I said, you know what, you're right. I got to stop having these preconceived notions. I need to go into it. And I ended up enjoying it. And I'll relate it to something that I like. I like Rod Stewart, and there's people that review Rod Stewart, but they don't review his music.
They review Rod Stewart
as a person.
Yeah.
And stuff like that bothers me too, because you're not looking at it objectively. You're looking at it as, well, Prometheus is all this hype and I don't get it, so it must be a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And
you're
not reviewing the movie, you're reviewing the hype around the movie. You're not reviewing, oh, look how amazing these set pieces are, and look how great the actors are doing. It's, well, this movie had all this hype, and I'm sitting in here and I don't get it. So
it is, you are not entitled to be entertained by a movie, and it is not the movie's job to win you over. That is not what going to a movie and being a film fan is about. And I read these articles, and I have read a lot of reviews about Prometheus because I am fascinated by it. And, Cinema Blend can put out an article where they just go through all the questions and are like, is this what this means? And is this what that means? And it's fascinating. Like, thinking about those questions is fun. And I can't wait to watch the movie again and look for those things that to call the movie a 4 out of 10. And I don't want to harp on the number, because I feel like numbers on movies is kind of, stupid to begin with, because how do you even interpret that? But to judge this movie so harshly, just because there are unanswered questions, which is part of what makes it fun, is just insane to me. I read the article and I feel like he is more in love with his quips and insults than he is actually in love with movies in general.
Yep.
And it's just frustrating. And again, let me just say, if you didn't like that movie, that's cool. If you don't like it because there's lots of questions, that's cool. But please let that not be because of how much hype there is, or because there are other people who like it. Like, if you're confused by why people like it, find somebody who likes it and talk to them about it. Like, or listen to our podcast, because that's what we do. I would love, actually, because I've come up with some cool ideas, I would love to write an article about what I think is going on in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do have a blog on realnerdspodcast.com. You can.
So all of that is to say that in order to make sure I had some perspective this week, I did something really, really horrible. I haven't seen an Asylum movie since Snakes on a Train, but this week.
Oh, is that what you're talking about on Facebook?
Yeah, this week I punished myself by going and picking up Alien.
Wait, you wrote that?
Yeah, I'm the one who wrote that.
In Ryan's name?
No. I wrote it on the podcast page, but it said tune in this week to see what James did to torture
you
himself.
wrote in the third person?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So I rented Alien Origin,
Dude,
a movie with
2
absolutely
stars on IMDb.
It has 2 stars on IMDb. It has absolutely no relation to the alien mythology. In fact, there's hardly any aliens in it. When I put it in, and it is actually a found footage movie, which I did not expect that at all. But it does follow similar plot points, which are that like all these soldiers are out in I think it's not Brazil, Belize. They're out in Belize with this woman with this photographer and this like lady who interviews people or something. I don't know why she's there, because it's a found footage movie. That's why they're there, and they're wandering around to like set up cameras in the jungle or something. That's their explanation, and they stumble upon this mystery of these lost scientists who were doing all of this archaeological research and keep finding these weird skulls that look like alien skulls, and they're like, oh man, what is this scary crap? But there are no characters in this movie. There really aren't. There's no character moments. There's one little scene where like the lady sits down, or she's going to bed, and there's another guy going to bed near her, and like they sort of give each other looks as if there's going to be a romance, and she makes a little joke about like, oh, your head's supposed to go at the other end of the bed, and that's the whole scene. They never have a scene again. They don't like die romantically or anything like that, because it's found footage, so everybody dies in the movie. Spoilers.
I'm going to watch that. No, I'm not.
Yeah. But they just wander through the jungle, and I guess they keep finding stuff, but there's these just tiresome shots of them walking through the jungle. They find a creepy guy who's supposed to be from Belize but is clearly just Mexican, and he's just standing in the forest and is like looking creepy, and they walk by him and he keeps looking creepy, and that's a scene. That's just a scene. And then at the end they just start shooting into the woods. Like it's nighttime, and they just start shooting bullets into the woods, and nothing. There's actually a scene where a guy walks, they're shooting into the woods, and a guy walks in front of another guy shooting bullets and runs over to the camera to be like, deliver some line, which was obviously improvised. But I'm like, wait, you don't even realize that guy ran in front of the guns that are supposed to be firing bullets. You don't even realize that happened. And like your main hero guy, like there's this one military guy who has most of the lines in the movie. But when all the action sequences start, the action sequence will start. They will start firing their guns, and he will yell, "Fall back!" and they will all just run away. They're the most cowardice military dudes with guns and stuff you've ever seen on film. And then, of course, they all die at the end. Because how can they not? You don't actually see them die. The girl who's the main character, I don't remember seeing her die. Don't know when that happened. And every time the alien shows up, it just like the film flips, and there's this weird CG thing, but we don't really see it very well because they have no money at all. And then they're like, okay, well, and now everybody's dead. And then they come back, and because every now and then they'll like the screen will go black, and there'll be text that says like, "Here's the footage from this," and then they'll cut to like the scientists' footage of interviews of what's going on, but they actually never talk about what's going on. Instead, they save it all to the end. It ends, and then it says epilogue. More. It just says more footage was found, and they cut back to a scene earlier where we're just looking at everybody from the torso down, and like this woman is talking to these other guys. She's one of the scientists that they found. She's talking to these soldier guys, and we see her hands moving as if she's saying things, but we don't see into their heads. So who knows what they're saying? Because it's clearly ADR'd really bad. And she is explaining all of this stuff about like, well, here's the DNA, and we did this match, and this is where the aliens came from, and this is why all of this happened, and this is how we got here. And that's the end of the movie. It literally just flood of exposition in the last 5 minutes. Like, hey, we figured out what happens in Prometheus, but only sort of. So we're gonna make up this stuff that's almost kind of like it, but doesn't really make sense, and just throw that in ADR at the end, and that way people will be like, oh man, this is like that movie I saw. And I forgot about this. What was great is when you put it in, you know how sometimes it'll come up, maybe they're like on a Universal movie, they'll have that clip of all the Universal movies and make you really excited about Universal. There's one of those for Asylum Pictures.
Wow.
There really is. And some of them are pictures that are coming up like Two-Headed Shark Attack. And it's going through them all, and it's bragging about like 15 years of movies, and we've made 100 movies in 15 years. It just keeps saying that, and then showing you these ridiculous things that are happening. And then at the end, it comes up, and it just says, "You're welcome." And I was like, "Are you freaking serious? Welcome for what? Please take whatever it was back. I don't need it." So I watched all of that to remind myself what a really bad movie is, because it's so boring. And honestly, went into it thinking like, okay, it's an Asylum movie, gonna be bad, but maybe it'll still be fun somehow. Nope, crazy boring, crazy boring. So don't check that out. And then
Sorry, the whole time you were saying that, I was just thinking like I had Guns N' Roses' "Welcome to the Jungle," but wandered through the jungle in my head. Then shooting at the jungle.
Shooting at the jungle, we don't see the alien.
It is weird because there's a part of me that's like, wait, this is actually Predator. That you've messed it up. Like you're making a Predator movie, not an Alien movie at all. I really think that they may have gotten confused at some point and thought that was what they should be doing. But anyway, so the day after that, since I had watched an Asylum movie, I figured I should watch some Shakespeare. So I rented Coriolanus, Ralph Fiennes' adaptation of Coriolanus. You were going to say something?
I was going to say, you cleansed your brain palate.
Yeah, I had to. I was like, I have to swing all the way to the other side and go to Shakespeare. And Coriolanus is really kind of interesting. It was not a play that I liked.
Anus.
It was not a play that I like when I read it. It's just not a very interesting one, I don't think. And basically it's about this guy who... He's this military leader, and he has this great victory at Coriol's, and they rename him Marcius Coriolanus, and that's where that name comes from. And then, because he can't keep his mouth shut and he's kind of a dick to people, they banish him from the city. And when they banish him from the city, he goes and befriends this guy who has been his like mortal enemy. Like they hate each other, and because he befriends that guy, the city invites him back in, and then, of course, because it's a tragedy, bad things start happening. It's not the most interesting story, I don't think, especially out of the Shakespeare ones. But Ralph Fiennes is amazing. Gerard Butler plays the other guy, which I sort of thought that was a weird. I haven't seen Gerard Butler do like serious drama like that before, but he does Shakespeare really well, I thought. And it's a modern adaptation, so it still takes place in Rome, but it's like this weird, I would almost say it's like post-apocalyptic, because it's Rome where there's a whole lot of military and all this stuff, and there's this Volscian sort of rebel group that is fighting them. That's who Gerard Butler is in charge of. It's really cool. Man, there's a scene early on when Ralph Fiennes and Gerard Butler fight, and it's one of the most badass just hand-to-hand combat fights I have seen in the last few years. And for a Shakespeare movie, that is high praise. And it's shot really well. It's shot in a way that you wouldn't expect for a Shakespeare adaptation, and they do a really great job of integrating that dialogue in a way that actually feels like it could be real. They do things where some of the dialogue, the people will actually be talking on a TV instead of being, if they were if in the play they're announcing to a group of people, instead it's on a TV and things like that. It is really cool. I don't remember the play well enough to talk about how it is as an adaptation, but I didn't like the play that much.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely one of his lesser known ones. It's kind of an
Yeah.
interesting one to adapt.
yeah,
because-
which is kind of why I think it makes for such a good movie. 'Cause,
Oh, yeah, 'cause
like if
nobody knows
Hamlet people will get mad at you if you adapt it to if you stretch it in weird places, but it's also only 2 hours long, which is half the length of Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. So it's a pretty easy movie to commit yourself to if you want to watch some Shakespeare. It's pretty cool.
I'm all for adapting the lesser known ones. I mean, how many
Yeah.
iterations do we need of Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet?
Exactly.
I mean, they've been done really well already. So
And we still never had a great Tempest. I haven't seen the Tempest from last year, but people were kind of middling on it. Tempest is one of my favorites, and I would love to see a good adaptation of Tempest, but
we should adapt Shakespeare.
we should. We'll do, which one has nobody done?
Taming of the Shrew? Oh, Comedy of Errors. I have experience on that one.
Yeah, you do.
Taming of the Shrew was done by 10 Things I Hate About You. Or not 10 Things I Hate. Yeah, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But anyway, you should
That
check
rhymes.
Coriolanus out.
10 Things I Hate About You, The Taming of the Shrew. They rhyme
They do.
Clearly they
by a
thought
few
that
words or less.
Yeah. So yeah, check out Coriolanus for sure. Brad, what'd you watch?
I saw Safety Not Guaranteed on Monday.
How was that? I've been interested to see it for sure.
That's a good movie. It's definitely like the appreciation I have it is about the same as Jeff Who Lives at Home, which makes sense because they're made by the same people.
Oh,
It's like watching a movie about Dwight Schrute go on a date, I guess, for the whole movie.
I thought it was about time travel.
It is about time travel. It's about a guy. There's this like newspaper in Seattle or something. I don't remember if they were a big one or just like a local thing, but they pick up on this ad in the paper that this guy has written about. He wants to go back in time. He wants someone to go with him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't explain why he wants to go back. He just says, I'm screening people to come back with me. Meet me here and we'll discuss it. Safety not guaranteed.
Gotcha.
So the people at this magazine or journal, whatever, try to track him down, show up at his house. The lead guy on the group tries to do it, but through his special screening process fails and gets kicked out. And then Aubrey Plaza, because they really wanted to get this story, she comes back pretending to be a different person while the other two are like spying on her. And she's so like weird and savvy that she's able to gain his trust. And then from then on, it's like all these little incidents of trying to investigate, like, why is he doing this? And, he like thinks people are like the government's following them all the time. So there's all these like what's happening here? Like why all these questions are coming up, and they're teasing back and forth. Like, is this guy for real? What's going on? So I don't want to spoil everything, but yeah.
Gotcha.
cool.
So they'll explain throughout the movie. Part of the enjoyment of the movie is trying to figure out yourself, like, like, is this guy for real, or is he just playing with these people and whatnot? So, and then the only thing I have is the end seems so like out of left field. You're expecting it to go one way, and
do they get in the time machine and go back in time to dinosaur times?
I'm
Because
not gonna
if
say,
so,
James,
sold.
You'll just have to see the movie yourself.
If that's the ending, it's the best movie ever.
So it's definitely one of my favorites of the year, but not
Cool.
as high as Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh wow! So you enjoyed it? You enjoyed it that much in spite of its ending?
Yeah, I mean, the ending is still good. It's just not the one I probably would have gone with. but
Oh, okay.
It's and for its budget too, it's surprising. But
Yeah. I always feel like a bad ending can totally spoil a good movie for me. I always felt that way we talked about this before, but there's this movie called The Visitor with Richard, what's his name?
Jenkins.
Yeah, Richard Jenkins. And it's fantastic. It was one of my favorite movies that year if you cut the last 10 seconds out of the movie, because it really is, I don't want to spoil it because people should check it out. It's really cool, but it ends in a very indecisive way that just made me furious.
And sometimes it can be the inverse of that, because
Oh, yeah.
when you see Shutter Island, it makes a movie way better. at
Oh,
the
it totally
ending.
does. You're right.
So,
That ending is done so well that you're like, man, the rest of this was garbage, but that
ending.
10 seconds was good. Yeah.
You know what else ruins movies? Strangers sitting down in the seat next to you and then giving out hand jobs.
Whoa. What?
Part of the reason I think I'm sick is because
Oh.
this woman who is sick sat down with her boyfriend a seat away from me. So she's sniffling and coughing, and then she's cuddling up with this guy, and she's like really playing close to his like rubbing him
No.
close to his belly and stuff. And I'm not trying to like look because they're so close. Like it's
Yeah.
obvious that I'm checking things out. But I kind of suspected that because he was like leaning back and like she was rubbing
no.
him. And then about 10 minutes into the movie, also the guy's like digging into his popcorn bag a lot. Like that's the first tip off because it was really loud. Like he's masking the sound of something. I was like, why is this guy eating this bag so loud next to me? It doesn't make sense. And then I was like, they're getting really friendly over there. And then about after 10 minutes, the girl gets up, like she has to go to the bathroom, and the guy leans forward like he's trying to conceal his boner. Yeah.
so
At the
gross.
landmark Greenwood Village Theater.
No.
The classiest theater in town has just been tainted for me.
No, that did not happen. I cannot. Oh gosh, that's the worst.
Yep. So
When you said that, I was afraid you were talking about like Ryan and Laura tonight, and I was like, wait, are you trying to segue into Brave? Like that's awful, but that did not happen. For
I
the
didn't want to
record.
say anything, but it is about you. Sorry.
Damn.
No.
That's crazy. Who
Yeah.
does? And the beginning of the movie, that's what gets me the most. It's not how gross you are that you did that in public near people. It was, hey, you didn't let yourself get into that movie because you were trying to get into each other. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
crazy.
just
Go to the
Weird.
back of the theater.
Why
man.
be more respectful
Yeah.
of films?
Why would you
yo?
sit right next down to somebody
Yeah.
and do it?
It's like I
Why
don't
would
exist.
Why would you pay $12 or $12.50, whatever it is at Greenwood Village, to give someone a hand job?
Because they would have had to pay $4 for that popcorn. That's the sound anywhere else.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get another chance to see the movie and love it even more without that distraction.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she was sniffling, coughing for the
awful.
whole
Definitely
thing. So.
not the family-friendly episode.
No,
Man.
to ruin that.
That's a
But
horrible story.
and of course, I've been watching the Batman the animated series. Still, I finally got to disc 3.
All right.
And I
I feel like you're watching this as slowly as you possibly can.
because I don't get to be at home that much, so
Yeah.
I play it at night, fall asleep.
Yeah.
2 episodes in.
Yeah.
Have to rewatch some of them, and I want to talk about it again because it reminded me of this really cool episode that I learned some stuff about on the special features. Do you remember the episode "The Gray Ghost"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean, I remember something about it. Remind me a little. Tell me what happens.
So, Batman or Bruce Wayne grows up like watching this TV show with his father called The Gray Ghost. It's like The Shadow, or
Yes.
what's another like serial TV show?
Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy.
The Shadow
Like,
is the best example.
Next week, the Gray Ghost will return and whatever.
Orphan
solves
Annie
this
was
mystery.
one of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
So there's this in Gotham. There's this mad bomber who's sending out these RC cars to blow up stuff
Yeah.
that existed
I definitely
in the show.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce Wayne, Batman starts like going back to his past. Like, oh my god, I remember this. What? I didn't get to see the episode because I fell asleep. My dad carried me to bed. How does the episode end? So he has to go to the movie. He goes to this movie nerd who collects. It's like a DVD
Old
store, a
reels,
VHS
yeah.
store. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it because he says the studio burnt down. So he tries to track down Simon Trent, the guy who played the Grey Ghost, and he's got this memorabilia collection that he's been selling to pay his rent, and he's been like losing. He can't get a job anymore because everyone identifies with him as the Grey Ghost.
Yeah.
So he's struggling to pay his rent, so he decides like that's it. I got to sell the rest of my Grey Ghost stuff. So he breaks down, sells it to this toy collector, and then. Once he's like, that's it. You've paid the last of my rent. There's nothing else I can do. I just hope I get a job. He falls asleep, wakes up. All of his stuff is back. And there's a note like, meet me at the art museum, a friend. And it's, of course, Batman who wants him to help. Like, tell me, what do you know about the episode so I can solve this case? And he's like, I don't want to help. I hate the Grey Ghost. I don't want to be a part of this. And so Batman's a little disheartened, but he gets... Simon Trent also has a collection of all the episodes, the last reels of film on this show.
Yeah.
So Batman gets a little information, and then basically, I guess I can spoil it. It turns out that all the memorabilia, all the RC cars that he had been selling to the toy collector. The toy collector is the Mad Bomber. He's been obsessed with the show, and he's been recreating stuff as the villain. And so eventually, after Batman guilts Simon Trent and be like, I believed in the Gray Ghost once, and I get it, you're not him. And then eventually he shows up in costume and everything and helps Batman, and Batman invites him to the Batcave and shows Simon Trent his own Gray Ghost collection, and it's just a really sweet episode. Like, it has a lot of stuff about like dealing with fame, stardom ending, and the ending is great too because Simon Trent never realized it, but the fact that he has the last collection of episodes in the world, he was able to sell them as like give them to a studio and reprint them as VHS copies,
Yeah.
and so at the end he has like this renowned stardom because like people have been starving for those shows, and like he's been in obscurity because people haven't had access to the show.
Yeah.
So if he just done that earlier, he wouldn't have been in dire straits. But the other cool thing about the episode is the Gray Ghost is voiced by Adam West.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's so cool.
So-
honestly, as you were telling that story, I was like, I wanted you to spoil it because I was like, I can't wait until I can see this episode. You have to tell me what happened. That sounds like the most
Yeah.
amazing episode.
It
That
was
is so cool.
Fantastic.
Oh, gosh.
It's get further and further along the discs, like the episodes just get better and better. And then there's this other one that's it's called See No Evil, and it's this guy who gets this this suit that's made out of this material that refracts light. And they even go into, like, in the episode, they actually go into, like, in Batman Begins when they explain the cape that
Yeah.
when you put electricity through it, it stiffens.
Yeah.
This is the same thing where electricity goes through it and it refracts light. This is a kid's show, and they're trying to explain the science about everything. And at the end, there's this little girl. The guy who's wearing the light reflective suit is trying to visit his daughter, who he can't see anymore because he's got a restraining order on him. So he's sneaking into his ex-wife's house and like visiting with the daughter.
Oh, yeah,
He
I
calls
remember
himself
that one.
Mojo. It's kind of a creepy idea episode.
Oh, wow. I do kind of remember this, yeah.
Yeah, and so the little girl in the episode, I was looking at the credits at the end. She's voiced by Elizabeth Moss,
Oh, wow.
who is Peggy from Mad Men.
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, it could be another girl, but
No. It's a little
given the age,
You know what I think's cool too on the Batman? I love the title cards before the episode when it has, the name of the episode
mhm,
and it has some sort of Art Deco kind of style to it is always really cool.
like
Yeah.
Looney Tunes would do.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
And then Ron Perlman is the voice of Clayface.
Is
Oh,
it really?
wow.
Yeah.
That makes
Oh, that's
sense,
cool.
yeah.
Matt Hagen. Yeah.
That's a good casting. Though I have to admit that as you said that about, the Gray Ghost and all these people who are starving for this stuff, I'm thinking to myself, man, yeah, I'm just like I'm starving for Batman, but it's like $30 a season. Oh,
It's worth it, James. It's worth it. I
It
paid
is.
$30 each for him, so
oh man, yeah.
Do you have them all?
I do.
So I can
6
borrow
volumes?
them for
4
free,
volumes.
right? No, I'm just kidding.
You could borrow them, yeah. I got to finish them first, but I bought them years
So,
ago.
yeah,
And this is
about
the
a
first
year.
time I've actually
yeah,
only-
exactly.
This is the first time I've actually binge watched them. So
I think the first volume is actually kind of cheap, like 12 or 15 right now. So I might just pick that one up first and then
Yeah.
watch them.
Yeah, I
slowly.
went to Second Spin looking for them because
Oh.
you were talking about because I only
Yeah.
have the first volume. Yeah, they didn't have any.
Man.
They had a lot of the Superman and His Amazing Friends or whatever it was called.
Super Friends and whatnot.
No, it wasn't Super Friends. It was the Bruce Timm one.
As you start talking about this every week, though, I start realizing that might be the greatest comic book cartoon show that ever existed.
They had a documentary on the second disc that was like a retrospective, and watching is just like going back to 1992, and also
man.
listening to that Fat Man on Batman episode. Just like it was so cool because no one expected it to be amazing. So
Yeah.
Warner Brothers just let them do what they want,
Yeah.
and that's why it's crazy because they didn't like try to
Everybody
pander
got
to
their
sell
way.
toys or
Yeah.
Like Ultimate
try to
Spider-Man.
be cool.
Or
and-
Batman and Robin.
Because what's the thing now is like the cartoons have to be star children, like they can't star adults because kids
Yeah.
won't identify with adults.
Yeah, that is the theory.
Yeah. But I don't believe in that. That's ridiculous.
I don't
'cause
either.
This show's so amazing.
Yep.
Totally.
Now, at the same time, Avatar: The Last Airbender is also good.
That's it for
That's
me.
cool. Man, I gotta watch that show.
Awesome. So we saw Brave this week. James, should people go and see Brave?
Absolutely. There is like the reviews going around this movie are, I don't want to say middling, but I think people are being a little bit harsh and saying that, like, well, it's not the best Pixar movie, but it's still better than most animated movies. I think this is fantastic. And I mean, even if you go in and you feel like, well, some of this is a princess movie that I have sort of seen before, it doesn't matter because it is so well told that you have to love this movie. I don't know how you can't, because it's so heartwarming.
Brad, should people go see Brave?
I think they should. It's not. I wouldn't say it's one of the better Pixar movies. You definitely watching it, you feel like there's a lot of cutting and pasting of because the controversy about this is that it had one director and then they didn't like what they were doing with it, so they switched to another one.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like it begins one way and then by halfway through the movie it goes to the new ending and stuff. So, but at the same time, it's beautiful, and I really wish it came out on Mother's Day.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why they picked this week to do it.
Really smart.
But yeah, it's definitely a quality film.
Yeah, I think people should definitely see it because it is beautiful and amazing, and I loved it.
Take your mom.
Yeah, take your mom. So you should probably listen to the trailer right now so you can understand kind of what we're talking about.
And then turn this off before we spoil it for you.
Yes.
And then come back later.
Yeah, and come back later. Let us. Yeah.
I saw something that day. Something I'll not forget. It stands 12 feet tall, with razor-sharp claws. His hide littered with the weapons of fallen warriors. His face scarred with one dead eye. I drew my sword and...
Chomp! Dad's leg was clean off!
Oh, that's my favourite part.
In accordance with our laws, the firstborn of each of the great leaders must prove their worth. Merida, stop! A lady enjoys elegant pursuits.
I present my only son. He took out a whole armada single-handedly. He was... With one arm, he was steering the ship.
I want my freedom.
But are you willing to pay the price your freedom will cost?
Careful what you wish for, my mother would say.
What's the worst that could happen? Yeah! No more fighting! Show a little decorum!
Feast your eyes!
If you had the chance to change your fate, would you?
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
watching that, and that's the thing. Watching that trailer would always make me start to cry. Like, it was just so beautiful. Just the trailer before we saw the movie. That I was kind of disappointed today when I started seeing the reviews, like on the front of the Denver Post today, where they were like, Brave is not as, misses the mark or whatever they were saying, and I was like, I don't know what these people saw,
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I mean, for a Pixar movie, I think it's something 79% on Rotten Tomatoes,
which is good, but still low.
Yeah, I didn't understand. I watched the movie and I was entertained the whole time. It was a different kind of movie because it was about a mother and daughter.
Yeah.
It wasn't about... and two, a lot of times in fairy tales, because this is really a fairy tale, which Pixar doesn't hardly ever do.
No.
And a lot of times the female character or the protagonist is a little vanilla.
Yeah.
Where it's, this and that. Of course, they're always trying to break free, but this one, the girl was strong and she could stand on her own and she wasn't going to be told what to do. But also, it was also a lesson for her. The lesson wasn't, you need to find Prince Charming and ride off in the sunset. The lesson was, you can be brave, but you also need...
You have to mature a little.
You have to mature, the movie is beautiful.
She's multifaceted in the, where the opposite of your cliche princess would also be cliche, Like, if this character were just strong and that was her thing, and, and she was just... She was a tomboy all the time, that would feel cliche too, but she has a different set of frailties, and she's brave sometimes but has flaws in other places that make her feel very fresh. And oh gosh, it's gorgeous. I really don't think,
how great is the hair in this movie?
yeah. But not only is the this is hard to say, but the design of the characters and the sort of CG of it is really good. But I think this is maybe the most well animated movie I've ever seen. Like these characters move and their facial features or their facial emotions and stuff are so good that they don't look photorealistic, but they are real people. And I get every emotion out of them that I think I would out of a real person. It's just unbelievable, really.
There's so many heartfelt moments, and it was funny. I loved the king in it. I thought was awesome.
Yeah,
because he was big and boisterous and just had fun.
And I don't. It's the same kind of thing where that character, the sort of play between him and his wife. There's different aspects to it where like you kind of get this idea of like, well, he's the playful one and she's sort of the sort of bitchy one, but you also realize like, well, he is at fault too because he's making these mistakes and that is actually a failure of his, and she is the one who stands up and gets stuff done and organizes things when it needs to happen, and that is actually important. Well, we want to side with our main character and say like, well, no, her mother is just being mean, but she's not. Like, there is a reason why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah, and because the king and the queen were kind of like perfect complements to each other.
Yeah.
Where the queen was, there was a certain way you had to do this, you had to do this, and the king was all the heart.
Yeah.
And they were a perfect complement. But there's, I'll spoil the part that, she, surprisingly, there's a witch in it that there's a spell.
Oh, yeah.
I did not see that coming at all.
Not at all.
That's one of those things I felt like they added to change the story to make it
really?
work. Yeah.
Well,
because it comes so late in the game, and then
oh, here, I'm gonna respond, and then you can finish your comment while you clear your throat. Is that it's something that I kind of disagree because we talked about this last week that I kept saying like, oh man, I wish they'd kept the title The Bear and the Bow, which was their working title for a while. But now I realize that I think they didn't want anybody to know about that twist, about that spell. Because it was the bear was not in the promotion really at all. Like there are a couple of shots in the trailer where I was like, oh, at some point she befriends a bear because there's a bear that's being friendly and following her, but there's also a mean bear. Like, what's the deal there? And I think that they purposely didn't use that title because they didn't want you to know that was going to happen at some point. It would be crazy to me to find out that somehow what is basically the entire conflict of the movie was not originally the conflict of the movie.
Well, I think the evil bear.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been most of the movie is like she has to defeat this bad bear.
Yeah.
I think they add the mother bear part spell.
Yeah, but I'll also say that. But what I was going to say was my favorite part. Well, one of my favorite parts is when they're trying to sneak back into the castle, and Merida's telling the story, and her mom bear is like.
Yeah.
Signing it to her.
Yeah.
And I mean, no words is coming from the bear, but you're right, it's so animated and
so well
and acted so well by the animation that I don't know, it's just it's beautiful and amazing, and this movie was it's just inspiring, and you don't get a lot of I'm a sucker too for women empowerment and and women that kick ass.
Yeah.
And, she doesn't back down. When that huge bear she found that huge bear, she wasn't
First thing she does is she shoots it with an arrow. And I was like, fuck yeah, you did.
Yeah, totally.
Yes, I was so excited. I was like, because she doesn't even have a moment of like fear first. Like first she shoots it with an arrow and then she's terrified.
Yeah,
because
then she realizes she can't slow it down. It's really cool.
Yeah, like her first thought is, okay, I got to stop this thing. And then when she realizes she can't, that's when she's afraid.
But yeah,
and that is such
it was interesting to see Pixar do like a straight up fairy tale.
Yeah.
Where I didn't expect it to be this. In fact, when I saw the trailers, I thought her being brave was she was going to go get the bear that hurt her dad.
Mm-hmm. That's where I thought it was going first too.
Her coming of age was she's going to hunt down this bear that maybe no one else could hunt down.
Yeah,
but that it went a different way where it was more about her discovering her relationship with her mother.
Yeah, because you kind of think like, oh well, this is going to be a movie where she has to prove to herself to everybody else so that they'll respect her, and you realize like. No. That can't be the lesson. The lesson can't be that she has to prove herself to everybody else. We already know she is strong and that she can do all this stuff, and she knows it too. It's just about her fixing these relationships with these people. I love that scene where her mother is talking to her dad and she's talking to the horse, and they're having this conversation that if they had it with each other, things might get better. But they just, they're arguing about like, oh man, she just never listens, and you realize it's not about nobody's listening. It's about you guys aren't talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was so well communicated and in a way that we as adults figured out and thought, wow, this is really interesting and really, really powerful. But as kids, like I think you would pick up on that. You would realize,
Yeah.
even if you couldn't articulate it, you would be like, oh well, yeah, they're apart, but they're having this conversation, which was just fantastic. And we have to talk about the bear fight.
Oh yeah.
I heard a guy when we were leaving the theater talk about how this is kind of like Up, where the first 2 acts of the movie are great, and then at the end there's this action sequence that kind of like doesn't quite deliver in the way that the first 2 do emotionally. But because bear fight is so cool. That bear fight, and it's I was looking up, one of the directors and one of the guys who was working on writing it was involved with Samurai Jack, which totally makes sense now. He's actually one of the animators on Samurai Jack, and then wrote an episode and directed an episode, I believe. And yeah, because that fight sequence feels like just this badass. I mean, it's bears fighting,
Yeah,
man.
totally.
How could it not be awesome? Way better than old dudes fighting on a Zeppelin. As much as I love Up,
Yeah, I mean, there's not much. Yeah, there's just so many great moments in that movie.
Yeah.
I can't even.
And I do think that like some of the humor and stuff is aimed at
Well, it's
younger
aimed
kids
at
on this
kids.
one.
I mean, of course,
but-
the 3 little triplet kids are definitely for
Yeah.
the children. But I mean,
But
there's
they're
some
still
really
funny.
funny
Oh,
parts.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, at the end where they're all sailing away and all the 3 kids are on the sailboat with them, and then the king. The next shot is the king rowing after him because he has to go after him. I mean, that stuff's really funny.
Yeah.
And they're really cute as little bears.
Yes, the cutest little bears. Way cuter than the little bears in Dr. Seuss's the whatever that was we saw.
The Lorax.
The Lorax.
Just
Yeah.
something they can do right. And, we didn't even touch on how great the little short was at the beginning, La Luna.
Yeah, La Luna, man.
It was beautiful.
I was kind of afraid it was going to steal the show. It was so good. One of the probably the longest ones they've done as far as I can remember. It felt long.
And, it was so creative. I didn't know what they were doing. I had no idea what was going on.
There was like this childlike wonderment about the whole thing that just you couldn't help but love.
Laugh out moments when he holds up the broom to the old man and it's shaped like his beard, and he holds up the other broom to his dad and he has the same bushy mustache. I mean, just cute little things like that, and just the premise of it. And I didn't even know what they were doing at the end. I'm like, why are they?
Yeah.
I thought they were cleaning up the stars. Why are they cleaning up the stars?
Why are they wiping all the stars off of the moon? And then they pull back. One of the best reveals, man. They pull back and you're like, oh. It felt
That's
like
their job.
Yeah, it felt like they were creating a new mythos.
Yeah.
Like in the same group of things like storks bringing babies and stuff. Now there is these people who sweep the moon every day and push the starlight off of the moon. So cool. And as we were driving over here afterwards, I was looking up and there was a crescent moon, and I was just like, oh, it was so good, man. I love their shorts so much. How you doing, Brad?
You doing all right?
I wish I could talk more. I can't.
No.
Yeah. Well, I guess Brad's.
Oh, poor Brad.
Yeah, poor Brad.
I'm sorry.
And
that
we'd
you're
love to
sick.
hear your opinion on it, but maybe you can tweet it.
You guys said most of what I agree with, so.
Yeah.
You can tweet us, real_nerds. You can like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can also send us mail directly, realnerds@gmail.com. You can call us 720-6nerds5. Please call us, because then you can hear yourself on the podcast.
Yeah.
You can also, what did I forget? You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. Next week we are seeing Ted. I think that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I think my wife wants to see Magic Mike, but
I want to see Magic Mike. I'll be honest. It's Steven Soderbergh movie. I have a hard time staying away.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll be in Nebraska, but
oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
But yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Ted for sure.
Ted for sure.
Ted.
And I've already been reading reviews for Ted, and they say it's really, really funny.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, after watching that Red Band trailer last week.
Yeah, that didn't have a red band in front of it.
Yeah, it was not Red Band.
Yeah. But
that trailer is so good.
Because the green one seems really tame to me, and with the jokes seem lame, but when you replace it with the swearing and the
yeah,
I had to watch the scene where he's naming off all the chicks' names again, just because it's an amazing piece of acting.
Yeah,
I mean, just to rattle off all those names, which I'm sure there probably wasn't a list of names, or maybe there was. They said, "Hey, why don't you just name a bunch of names and go?"
Yeah.
So who knew Mark Wahlberg could do it?
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, we'll talk to you guys all next week.
bye.
Bye.